Make room for the magic. My next guest wants to help women find more peace and more joy during the holiday season. Professional organizer Jenny Layton has 3 ways to put off the pressure, hopefully before it even settles in. It's great to see you. A lot of women, I think, associate this time of year with stress. Yeah, how do you look at stress in the holidays?
I know, it almost feels like you can't do the holidays without stress. And you know, you're going to have a little bit, but I think what we're going to talk about today will really help minimize it, so it's more the exception rather than the rule. Is
stress self-imposed? I mean, that amount of stress that we're talking about where it overwhelms or takes you down.
Well, I like to think it is. I think this time of year of a quote by Stephen Covey, and he said, if the ladder is leaned up against the wrong wall, every step you take is just going to get you to the wrong place faster. And I think with the holidays, we lean our ladders up against the wrong wall when we think everything has to be perfect. Our decorating, our shopping, all of our family traditions, we put so much pressure on ourselves to do all of these things. And maybe the right wall for us to lean our ladder up against is to think more about what we want our holiday season to feel like, rather than what it looks like or what we think it has to look like.
There is so much attention to aesthetics, right? And to material preparation and presentation. But really what we're after when we say make room for the magic, it is that magical feeling. That's a feeling.
Right, and that's not very reinforced in our visual world with social media. So I think this is a really good time to just take a step back and ask ourselves, what do we really want? What do we really want to feel?
You've got a few questions we can ask ourselves to get there and stay there in that frame of mind. First, what does your family really care about?
Okay, so the first way that we lean the ladder up against the wrong wall is thinking that it has to look a certain way, that just because we've always done something, we should do it that way again. So it's really interesting when my clients and students ask their families, well, what do you really care about in the holiday season? Most of the time, it's really simple things that don't take a lot of planning and preparation and cost. So take a minute, sit down with your family, maybe over dinner or one-on-one when you're driving with your kids in the car, and ask them, what makes the holidays really magical for you, and try to plan your holidays around that instead of all of the things that you think you have to do again.
So let that be your driving goal, or your North Star, so to speak, is what my kids, what my family, what I want to experience this holiday season.
Right.
Is everything else check up or line up against that?
Right, right. And if we can let go of some of those other things, some of that clutter, it really goes a long way to freeing us up to being a lot more present and enjoy the holiday season.
And you say moms, women have place in that conversation as well.
Right.
We have a hand in that vote. What do I really care about?
Right. Well, it's so easy to make it all about the kids and think that it has to be magical for them, but you have a huge influence on the feel of the home, the tempo of the home, and if you're dreading it and you're stressed out and you don't know how you're going to get it all done, that really kind of coats the experience that the kids have as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so if there are things that you love, don't be afraid to make sure that that's included. Your family can support you the way that you support them, or if you really just want to have things be simpler and you know that's what will make it better for you, I think everyone will be happier in the long run if you're willing to take that into consideration as you plan your holidays.
We have talked so much about this little buzzword mindfulness, right? And I think we almost talk about it so much it washes over us. I don't know if we listen or pay attention to it as we should, but how does mindfulness or that presence relate to the holiday season?
Okay, so great example. Last night, my teenager comes to me like at bedtime, you know, when they start to wake up and want to spend time with you.
Good stuff happens, yeah.
Right. She's like, let's decorate the Christmas tree. And that was the last thing I really felt like I wanted to do, but I was willing to be present in the moment. And so we turned on the holiday music and we dragged out the ornaments and we spent an hour decorating the Christmas tree. And you know what? It was such a great moment with her. And I thought as we were decorating it, this is what it feels like. This is what I want it to feel like. It wasn't a moment that I had to prepare for. It wasn't something that had to be manufactured. It just happened on its own. And I think if we're willing to be more present as we do the things that really matter to our families and ourselves and let go of the rest, we're going to find so many opportunities to really create that magic with our families that don't stress us out. They just happen.
I love that example because it wasn't on the calendar. It wasn't in the plan. But it checked all the boxes, so to speak, of what you wanted the holidays to feel like.
And it took a task from something that was a task to a moment and a memory. And so I think it's something we'll look back and cherish. You know, she's getting older. She won't be here with me forever. But I took that time to be with her, and it was really meaningful.
I picked up on something you mentioned earlier, and that's the clutter.
Right.
The physical clutter. I mean, that does contribute, I think, more than we even realize to our inner peace or our inner self. And you say gifts or things, even as we're going about checking off our list and getting prepared, those things can start to get in the way of this feeling too.
Right, and just trying to collect all those things and finding the perfect thing, and then we get ahead of ourselves and at the end of the holidays have to put it all away, and that can be stressful and kind of disrupt the magic of it. So what about considering clutter-free gifts this season? That's a great way to simplify your holidays.
Clutter-free gifts?
Clutter-free gifts.
What does this look like?
Well, so how about experiences like a season pass or a subscription? I have one client that has gotten a craft subscription for her preschooler, or another client got Bacon of the Month Club for her husband. They loved it. And so that just gadgets and toys and clothes, they're fun and they're an important part of Christmas, but we can really mix things up and find more ways to connect if we look to minimize the tangible clutter by creating some experiences and memories with our family.
I'm seeing the payoff there post-holidays as well,
right?
Right, when there aren't as many things come January to get in our way. So it's definitely an interesting way to think about it. Jenny, thank you for this pre-holiday pep talk as things start to take off. How can we get more advice from you?
So my Life Organized podcast is a great place. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook at JL The Happy Gal, and then my website, thehappygal.com.
I like to say she's part organizer, part therapist. You're in our head, helping our hearts be where they need to be as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll link you over to her podcast and to her website from ours, studio5.ksl.com. You can always access the search engine in the upper right-hand corner of the website screen and type guests by name or also topics by keywords, studio5.ksl.com.